There's a bite. Thought I was pulling into another weed on the same spot lock. There it is. That thing, look at this. Nice fish. It's a scrawny little male or a spawned out female, one of the two. A real nice walleye, look at that. A little bigger. What is up, fisher people? After a couple of cold, cloudy, rainy, windy, crappy days, we got a decent day today. The wind's still blowing out of the northeast, which isn't great, but at least it's been consistent for a few days, which might stack some fish up back here. I'm on a small little lake that I've never really fished for walleye. I've caught one little walleye here before. These smaller lakes warm up quicker than the bigger lakes. This little cove has got some wind pushing back in here for a few days. Marked a few fish. Hoping that there's some good walleyes back in here to play with. But normally what I would do this time of year is just look around for the warmest water I can find. But when you get a few days in a row that are cloudy and cold, you don't have that chance for warm water to be moving around and everything gets kind of uniform. So it's pretty much 55 degrees everywhere that I've gone so far, unfortunately. But as the day goes on, now that we have some sunlight, that might change. And eventually we might see some warmer water stacking up back in a spot like this and turning some fish on. So got the Fox River rod, a 7.3 medium light fast. It's not what they call it. It's basically what it is. They call it medium light fast taper action. Just terms. It's a good jigging rod though. It's a great jigging rod. It's got good feel. I can feel bites, I can set hooks, I can handle fish. The long rod definitely helps you handle fish really well. Keeping them pinned, a lot of forgiveness, love it. Basically what I'm looking for here is like a nice, shallow, flat bay with some water moving into it. Something that'll warm up, that's kind of the deal. And when I'm in there, I'm just cruising around looking for fish on side imaging. Although, if there is a subtle little point or hump or something within that bay, I might target that to see if it holds a few more fish than average on a piece of structure. But I got an 1/8 ounce jig. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have a 16th, but I don't think I have any 16ths in the boat. My bad. I should have 16ths in the spring. Stupid. But yeah, some days, especially on like Sakakawea, when you've had nasty cold front weather, it might take 2 or 3 days for those fish to wake up. On a smaller lake, it might be quicker because it'll warm back up faster. So, oh, and you also might notice I got my own logoed hat now, which, you know, I've had some hats that have been good to me, but I'm gonna have to retire them. I have to promote my own business. Sorry guys, but it's been fun. This is a great hat. This did me well. It fit really well, it's comfortable. Mr. Lucas. And also, this hat got a little airtime. The old Bruce's Egg Supply, that's my stepdad. He does some kind of like biological stuff for like hog buildings and I think stuff that maybe you can put on your crops. They've been good hats, but I like the idea and I wanted my logo on it. Okay, enough talk. Let's cover some more water and catch some fish out here. So normally, this season, when things are starting to warm up, I'm looking for like 2 to 3 to 5, 6 feet of water kind of thing. But when you get a cold front, they'll push deeper because that surface stuff, that shallow stuff is more volatile, that cools down quicker. So they don't like that shock. So they retreat down in the deeper water. So they might be in like 6 to 8 to 10 feet to start the day. But I'd like to think that as things warm up, we'll get some right up on the bank in a couple feet of water. Real skinny stuff. Oh, there's some fish on side imaging. I'll have to get a screenshot of that, but I'm gonna pitch out here first and see if I can catch them, because that's what I'm trying to do today, is catch fish. I freeze framed it. I'll screenshot it here in a second. I'm just kind of like slip drifting back into this bay, pitching around, seeing what I can find. There's a bite. Got him. Right off that point. Feels like a walleye, honestly. I just got a good tick on the end. That is a walleye. First fish of the day, it's a walleye. He's a feisty walleye. He just gobbled that thing. Look at this. Look at that. That's a nice fish right there. It's an 18-incher. Right in the snoot. I think this boat saw me and they're motoring over here quick. We might have company. I think that was the fish that I saw in side imaging, honestly. I really do. And I was just bouncing it like this. And you bounce it and then you got some hang time and then just dink. Just that little tick. That's what you got to be able to feel. That's why you got to have a good rod. Something like a Fox River rod. So you can feel that tick. Feel the tick, set the hook. Bam! We're on fish already. First spot. Oh no. Oh no, I caught a carp. That's not what I was after, but trying to get him by the gill because he doesn't have much of a mouth. It's hard to lip a carp. Big old gross thing. Maybe I should make a video jig pitching for carp. Carp had a bunch of little leeches on it. I don't know how well you can see that. That's another gross thing. Warm. I don't think I'm going to wear my own stocking cap much longer. I'm going to switch to the hat. Here's another little fun fact. I have heard before that walleye will actually feed on carp eggs when carp are spawning. So just because you're seeing carp in the area doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad spot for walleyes. I keep pitching back on that spot where I caught the other walleye, thinking there'd be another one in there, but I haven't gotten another bite yet. And if you're a local viewer fishing these smaller lakes in the Garrison area, you're going to notice that they're going to fish a little differently. We got a surprising amount of weeds already. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that like the ice did come off late, but then it got quite warm after ice out. And I think it just started really sprouting these weeds. So I'm pulling off weeds almost every cast, but a lot of times you can fish through them. And if you get like, you pull through a weed and it kind of like springs off and releases, just let it hang there. Just hold your rod tip and see if a fish doesn't pop that thing. Because a lot of times that triggers bites, especially with aggressive fish. They like chased them through that weed stuff. So it'll just pop, release, and then hold the rod tip there and then thunk. That's a fish. Ooh, there's a big fish under the boat. I don't even know what that is. That could be a little big for a walleye. But 3 feet of water, I don't know. He's just gonna look real big down there. That looks like an isolated walleye out here on the right side. Spot lock, try to pitch at this one fish. Just kind of work the back of the cove and I'm kind of working out the other side now. Just kind of cruising around seeing what I find. Water's still, it's 56 now. So it's all the same in here really. I'm not seeing fish super tight to the bank. I'm seeing them in a lot of 4 to 6 feet kind of water. So seems like a nice gravelly shore over there. It could be a location where the walleyes were spawning and it could be a male that's hanging out doing his milking thing potentially on that kind of structure. I saw a little pot of fish off to my left and threw out there and razored me off. Whether it's smart or not, I'm going back in there. I think it broke off twice. That'll be it, but it just got like really heavy and I thought I was pulling into another weed, but then it started moving. There's still fish there, whatever they are. That one's not what broke me off, I don't think. This feels like another walleye. It is a walleye. Nice, nice fish. Nice fish. They are walleyes there. Look at that. Right in the snoot again. I don't know, maybe I just had a weak part of my line there that broke on the other one, but still in the cove, just on the other side. It's a scrawny little male or a spawned out female, one of the two. Oh no, there's milk. They're milking. They are milking, it's on my finger. It's a milking male walleye. I was right. This is, this is definitely a spawning location. And I can feel the gravel in the water too as I'm working my jig. So like just because you see gravel on the shore doesn't mean there's necessarily gravel in the water. You don't know how far it extends, but it definitely extends out here. I feel the gravel. That fish was so close to the boat, I probably overdid the hook set there. If you get really close to the boat and you don't have much line out, you don't need to set the hook that darn hard. But I got so excited because I felt the tick. So I really put the wood to it. Maybe that's how I broke the other one too. So I'm only using, I got 6-pound mono leader. I want something thin and stealthy, you know, for the fish not noticing, but it's also mostly just because that light mono gets that thing real floaty in the water. You want it real floaty early season in cold water and shallow water. Can we catch 2 walleyes in one spot? I saw a pot of 3 of them there. I'd like to catch multiple fish on the same spot lock. There it is. I think this is bigger fish. I do think this is bigger. I'm gonna need the net for this one, I think. That boat's gonna see my net and come over here maybe. A little bigger. A little bigger, not much. Fatter. Is it another male or is it a female? I think that might be a female. I don't see active milk, but probably 18, 19 inch, maybe female. 2 fish on the same spot. Ask and ye shall receive, huh? Sometimes all you got to do is talk to him. I need to catch one on camera. I call my shot again for crappie T. He loves to do that. He's always sending me videos where he's like, just in case you think I'm faking it.
See if old crappie T can hack one. Yep. And it's a lunker.
Here's my bait. I'm just casting. Here's the cast. 4 or 5 pops later, he's got a 16-inch Lunkero perch. So I'm almost to the mouth of this cove, basically. There could be more fish sitting right at the mouth. In fact, that's where the females could be. They get done spawning, push out, and hit that first point outside the cove. That could be the ticket. Missed the hook set on that one, but I just cruised a little further up the shore. Oh, it was a white bass and it broke my line? How? How does a white bass break my line? What's going on? Do I have bad line? In all honesty, I should probably stop boat flipping these walleyes with 6-pound mono leaders. That's probably part of the issue. Anyway, this is the jig I'm using. This is one of my favorite jigs. I love this color in a lot of places, but especially out here near Sakakawea and in Sakakawea. And it's a Northland Fireball jig. I'll leave a link in the description. Oh, it just dropped on gravel. So yeah, when you cast to those shores, sometimes you can just use your jig to like, just drag it across and see if you feel bump, 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 bump. But it's not getting hung up. That's nice sized gravel for a good spawning location for walleyes, and just a good walleye spot in general. Walleyes, they're called gravel lizards for a reason, right? So you can see it on your side scan, but if you don't have side scan, you can feel it with your jig. Use your jig to understand the area you're fishing, you know what I mean? That's advanced jig tips right there. So there's nice gravel, and then there's like 3-4 foot of water, and then that first break in the lake. And it drops down to a softer bottom. And those transitions and that break line can be a big thing. It's like once they kind of get done and out of spawning mode, they'll move to that first break line. And that's when you can either pitch jigs right off that ledge, or if you're getting into bottom bouncer season, that's where you're dragging your bottom bouncers right off that first break. That's kind of your next stage in the transition once they get post-spawn, a few weeks. Be the next best place to find these walleyes. I think we found the smallies. No, it's another big white bass. Holy cow. Look at that size of that white bass. Judas Maud. Oh. Real skinny water. 2 foot, pitching into 1. They like the warm stuff back here. It's a tank white bass. Are you kidding me? That's just freaking mammoth. How long is that? God, it's an 18.5-inch white bass. 18.5. I've never caught a white bass that big. $18 and a half white? Kidding me? After that white bass, I got into like Pike City and had 3 breakoffs in a row, and I got the heck out of there. Motored up to another little cove here. I'm at the mouth of the cove where there's a little bit of a steeper bank and some gravel shoreline. And then it flattens out back here into some softer bottom. We're gonna see if there's anything on the outside first and then work our way in. Same kind of stuff. Seems like a nice similar spot, but it's just not happening here. Not happening. Gotta move. Well, that took a little while. I don't know if this next spot was gonna be any good or not, but we did end up hooking up on this shoreline in the cove. Looks like a nice walleye. Looks like a real nice walleye. Look at that. Look at that. Looks like a spawned out female. Finally found one of them. That's a bigger fish. That's fun right there. That's probably 21, something like that. Get out the tape. 21 and a half. That's definitely a spawned out female, if I had to guess. Nice fish. It's keeping some fish to eat. But I think I'm gonna let this one go. It was fun fish. I appreciated the joy tangling with you. Nice. Well, it's 12:38. We got our 4th walleye in the boat now. Same deal. Just found another cove, and I'm working the gravel shoreline up the cove. I'm not finding them like way in the back here, like I did in the first cove and expected to see more of today, but that's what it is. Nice fish. And what I was employing on that pass is I'm going at like 0.5, 0.6 mile an hour, pitching up to shore and just kind of letting the jig swing back. I probably got that bite halfway back to the boat when it was kind of in a more of a dragging situation instead of a casting pitch situation. But like the other ones, I saw just one fish sitting out on side imaging, threw right at it. Sure enough, a few pops later, she bit. It's probably also a good thing I let that female go on Mother's Day, is it not? Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful moms out there. I am fishing on Mother's Day. It'd be nice to see and hug all the moms in my family right now, but they're not anywhere near North Dakota. So I will talk to them on the phone later tonight and give them a virtual hug through video. Happy Mother's Day. I got a couple of them over here on the side imaging now. They're probably, I don't know, 50, 60 feet over. So the marks are much smaller and thinner. If they're closer to the boat, they'll look bigger for the same size fish. But I think they're walleyes. We're gonna see if they go. It's definitely not been automatic. Like the ones that bite good, and they've kind of choked it. But there's been a lot of times where I've seen fish and I'm like, oh, that looks good. No bites. Spot lock, pitch a few times, nothing, keep moving on. So it pays to stay on the move a little bit, but I will give these at least 3 casts here because they're still showing up there. There was 2, and once in a while I see 3 or 4. There he is. I don't know if that's a walleye though. It looks like a smallie, honestly. Might be our first smallmouth bass, which is just unbelievable here. We have 5 or 10 of those, but look at the size of that bass. Tank. Oh, got off. That's okay. Probably put a little too much pressure on it when I was leaning for the net, but it doesn't break my heart exactly. few more casts here on this spot. I have not got another bite yet, so probably just keep moving my path, keep pushing up the cove. I pulled into another cove that looked pretty promising. It was actually 60-degree water back there, which is 2 degrees warmer than around the corner, which has gotten up to 58. But didn't find any biting fish, just found a boat spearing carp and watched them catch a carp. And then I ate my lunch. Now I'm taking a few more casts at the other side of the mouth of the cove, and if I don't get any fish, I'm gonna try a new spot, or maybe I'll go back to that first spot, see if those fish are going again. Getting 3 walleyes there. It's definitely the best spot we've had so far. We've tried 4 coves, 2 empty, 3 walleyes in the first one, 1 walleye in the other one. I'd like to see if I can find something else. But if not, maybe we'll go back and try to catch some more fish at the first spot. Well, I returned to the scene of earlier crimes, and I got another walleye hooked up here. Seems like a good move to come back where the fish were. There we go. Back with another male, looks like. That one gobbled it. I might have to retie that leader. That thing's mangled. And there's our 5th walleye on this lake. Sweet deal. Not a catch fest, but action. Nice to catch some fish out here and get our feet wet a little bit. Get some action on a smaller lake before Sakakawea starts really going off. So if you like this video, hit the button to say so. Maybe subscribe to the channel. Maybe subscribe to Patreon for some in-depth fishing reports. And we will see you later, fisher people. Bye.